Welcome to Obscure Echoes YT Horror Podcast. If you're into horror, scary stories, real life encounters that leave a lasting chill, you're in the right place. So turn off the lights, put in your headphones, and get ready for another terrifying ride on Obscure Echoes YT, where we bring you true horror podcast stories that are as real as they are disturbing. Because sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that actually happen. And today we have Luna, and I'd love to hear your story, Luna.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I am Luna. I am the owner and operator of Luna's Enlightenment. I specialize in candle making. And besides that, I have some secret magical powers.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I do some witchy stuff. I do a little magic, candle magic, right?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Always gotta spice
Yeah.
up life somehow, right?
Yeah, so I absolutely love it. Like, to be honest, it's like a form of expression, right? It's like you're for the feminine energy, it's like we're taking that and turning it into something, our creativity, what we want, things like that, and utilizing the natural elements to bring it all together and our world on the inside. So that's what we're going to talk about today because it's not really like necessarily the outside that's also scary. It's our inside that's like really scary. So I'm not sure if anyone else has experienced a spiritual awakening, and along the journey, many times you undergo spiritual psychosis where you don't know what is real, what isn't real, depending on how far or how severe it could be. You start hearing voices, you start seeing things, you get visions, and then you're creating your life. So you start to go down these rabbit holes. And that was definitely something that I experienced that ties into the metaphysical plane as well. So, like the ghostly plane
Right.
and psychological plane. So it's kind of all three. It's very interesting.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So I was staying with my aunt at the time. I already started the spiritual awakening. I had my business. And when I was a kid, I always really wanted to live with them. Like I always felt like that was my home. So then I was like finally living there and I was like, oh, it's like, I'm one of the kids and I was feeling into place and I enjoyed it at first. And then along the way with me staying there, I was staying in my cousin's room and I was experiencing like I was at my peak with my psychosis, and it was like I really felt like I was walking in between worlds. Like I didn't know what was real, and I would see people and they like look like zombies. Like they didn't even look like humans. And I just like really felt like this emptiness within me. And so I really felt like I was experiencing this phenomena where I legit was walking with the spirits in the astral world, and I would come in and out, but I would really feel when I would come back and forth, and it was a very interesting experience. So kind of like to start back with the story back in the day, my cousin, because this was like I said, I was staying in my cousin's room. She was experiencing some things that within her room. She was seeing, like the room was mirrors, and she would see. She had saw someone else in the mirror, and she saw like this older figure, and it wasn't her, but she was looking at the mirror. So that was like her kind of her peak with like what she was experiencing on the astral plane. And they took her to the hospital and all of that and did tests and gave diagnosis, all of that stuff. And till this day, like she was saying stories that she was experiencing, ghostly things and things that I even witnessed too, like just spending time with her. And I kind of had that gift where I was able to kind of feel where that there was ghosts or, different entities and energy, but I didn't like see, like that wasn't, like I didn't see them in a form, and like things were, falling, or there wasn't communication in that sense. But I always was able to have that feeling and that connection in a different way. And so now, as I'm fast forward, now I'm in this room where she experienced a lot of, that connection within that time. And a lot of this happened after I did a mirror meditation in that room. I don't know what led me to wanting to do that, but I said, I'm going to do it. And I did. And I did a mirror meditation, and I stood and I sat and I had candles going. It was completely dark, and I just stared at myself for like 30 minutes in a dark room and just staring. And then after that, like things got really weird, and I had to leave. Like I ended up leaving, and I didn't leave on good terms, but I had to leave, and it was like I was like it was like life completely changed after, like I saw things in a different way. Things within the family was coming out, and I was just like, you know what? Like I'm out of here. I don't belong here. So that was definitely something very interesting that I experienced. Um and then even just like experiencing the psychosis in general, which I guess, as to anyone who may be going down that spiritual path and spiritual awakening, grounding is very important. You have to come back to reality because you open up to so many different portals and things like that, and you're going in. So you got to always come back to you. So make sure you do that. But yeah, besides that, like going into some destiny swapping, because that's real, and power. Like I said, I had this gift when I was little because I had some experiences, but someone took my gift from me, and to be honest, I I let them. I like what I do. I like the energy that I work with. I'm somewhat tapping back into it. Like I'm starting to feel it and it's starting to come up, but I'm not pushing for it. But it wants to make its way back because I've been calling my power back lately. So now, like, my metaphysical powers are coming back too. But yeah, when I was little, there we had a family member, or not, it was like a family friend, and their house, they had some entities there. And I remember seeing like like a girl or a person in white in the basement. It was just really, really odd that, it was like just to actually see it. And I was just standing there and I saw it, and then it just wasn't there anymore. And yeah,
Was it
it
looking
was
at you?
kind of, it was like a woman. Like it was like very feminine, like flowy hair, and it was like a flowy white dress. And it was just like there, kind of like faring, floating around, and it like twirled and it stood, and then it kind of like just twirled away, and it disappeared. And I looked around like, am I the only one who saw this? But they were already, there was already stories of entities being in that home, and that was like my experience that I was able to witness. So at least it was a peaceful one, right?
True. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're always
Oh,
fun. I know, like my buddy appeared to me like after he passed. He was like a clearish green, but it was just like of his torso. He like tapped on my shoulder, and I like looked around, and that was him. I was like, oh wow, that was like my first time that I've seen like a actual like happy ghost. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, very interesting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I had this dream. Speaking of the that house, one of the ones who lived in that house, he was my dad's friend, and one night he decided to no longer live his life. And I remember after finding out, I think it was maybe like the next night or like in between the funeral, something like that. But I remember I had this dream, and like they would watch the Bears games and football games downstairs in the basement. So I remember in my dream, I heard them downstairs, and I knew that he wasn't living anymore, but he was hanging out with my dad. And so I just stood and I was watching, and I'm just watching them watch the game, and they're cheering, and then it was like halftime or something like that. And my dad's friend's like, "Oh, why don't you come with me? Let's go, maybe go to the liquor store or something, right? Go somewhere, wherever." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And so I ran down and I was like, "No, like you can't go with him," because I knew that he wasn't living anymore. And I was like, "No, he's not, he's not alive. You can't, don't go with him." And he's like, "What are you talking about? Like, move, go to bed." And you're like, "No, like you can't go. Don't go with him. You have to stay here." And then it was like I was like crying and like blocking him, and I was pulling on him. And then it was like all of a sudden, like the friends started, like it was like a wind tunnel around him, like a portal, and it was just circulating. And then like he just started to just go up and disappear. And then the portal closed. And then my dad was just like looking at me. And I was like, "Yeah, that was that."
Awesome.
Yeah. But that was an interesting story on that. I always had a interpretation. I don't know, maybe somehow I stopped that continuous cycle or something, right?
Yeah.
So besides this, I also do tarot readings. And to anyone who is dabbling into that, I guess kind of like not, I don't know, maybe warnings, just cautious, right? Because it's when you connect with someone on that level, you and them, you guys are giving permission to like connect in the energetic field, right? So you guys hold this connection. And then depending on how you read and what you see, you're putting yourself in there, and then you could be putting yourself in their future, right? Or their past, but however you read.
Right.
And you have to close those portals. Otherwise, you start to experience a lot of things. And I was going through that. I remember one time I was just really like things just was not it was just weird. And I have a good group of people who are in the spiritual realm, and I had a call with this one fellow from down south, and I was like, "I don't know what's going on." And he's like, "You got all these portals open." And I was like, "What?" So we had this call on Zoom. And then like later on that day, of course I'm scrolling, and someone's like saw something about how to create like a aura cleanse or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So I created that, and then I ended up creating a product too. So I have an aura cleanse spray that I actually used, and it definitely helped me like with what I was experiencing. And more that I'm getting more deeper into this, it's like you really have to practice that opening and that closing, because it's like you're going in and you're coming back. And there's a lot of residual energies, and then especially if you do cleansings, because some of the stuff kind of sticks onto you. I had my first one that I had a berry, and that was interesting.
Yeah, I never knew that about tearing tarot cards and reading and all that. Like I know I do some of my own, I mean, it all makes sense. Everything's an exchange of energy, and you are going into their energy and kind of reading off of them. Like for me, like I just started recently feeling the cards, like if they're the
Mhm.
right ones, and like just like how like you said your abilities were taken away, like mine's a curse, and like I feel it like coming and going, and like I feel like it would be a lot more useful if it was like fully on opposed to, here and there or very like low volume type deal. But
Mhm.
like sometimes like when I do read I will feel the card as if it's happy. So I'm like, oh, this is the right card. But yeah, I definitely need to cleanse myself afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then because I do readings, so there's terms and light worker, things like that. So I read the light, but I also read the dark. So I read the shadow and I bring that out. So a lot of what the way that I read is I really go into your soul. I can really see what's leaking down there and wanting to come out so that you can connect to that higher the higher because it's like the more you have to go in deeper within you in order to expand out into the world because then you're going to have your triggers, you're going to have your fears, you're going to have your self-sabotaging behaviors that you're not aware of, and then you're not you have to explore the depths within you so that you can get to know you and not be reliant on the outside world, right? Especially for like happiness, for attention, things like that. It's like you get all of that within you and then it comes out into the real world.
Yeah, definitely. So with you going in deeper in going deeper into the person that you're reading, is that you're giving more of your energy off of it?
Mm, yes, in a way, because it's like you said, it's an energy exchange.
Mm,
So it's like a lot of the readings is either what I've already experienced
mm,
or I am experiencing, or I know that it's being experienced through the collective energy, right? So it's like in a way, yes, because I already went through it and I know how to get through it. So it's like I can give you that guidance
right.
and that help. And then that's where that energy exchange comes in with currency or I also barter too, things like that, however much guidance, however much help you need, whatever else.
So with you saying, some of the scary stuff is on the inside, what other scary things that came up from the inside of you, opposed to saying like zombie people? Are there any like demons, creatures, or anything of that sort that you've seen?
I did a meditation and I hugged the devil.
Interesting. Was he like,
Yeah, it
or
was
she?
it was like a big it was like a big dark entity figure and it was like the what came out of it was to befriend those addictions, those lower energies, attachments, things like that that you have not suppress them, not like, oh, I gotta pray it away, things like that. It's like you know that it's there. That's where self-control comes in and where your boundaries come in and like your self-concept, things like that. But don't push it away, right? Like if you like to drink, drink, right? Don't hide it. Don't, whatever. If that's your thing, women, men, whatever it is, food, sex, whatever, right? It's like you you befriend it because a lot of times it becomes bad when you shame it and when you try to hide it and push it down even deeper, the energy is not flowing. Now, it's not to say, it's like one of those be friends, but keep your friends, your enemies close, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're be friends, but you still got to watch out for it. And not just your demons, the demons of other people, because what happens is that energy wants to make you into your lower energy, right? Like if you're a very loving, happy person, they want you to have that envy and the jealousy. If you're very creative, they want you to get, you know, sexual override so that that can consume you, right? Like that's what the energies try to do. If you're secure and stable, they want you to become unstable mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, right? All of that. So, yeah, and even your self-esteem. They want they want to take that self-esteem. And a lot of times it's the energies, it's people, but it's energies that are on the people itself too. So it's like that's where your heart, loving you comes in, always putting yourself first.
Yep.
But them demons, they're it's the energies, right? Because this is a polarity world. It's light and dark, all of that. And that energy is here, and a lot of times people create those those demons, and that's what manifests when you're under high levels of stress, when you're, living in fear, you invite that into your home, and depending on, what your beliefs are, where you live and what realm you live, it can manifest into, the energy entities that, are in your home and take over and, are there to, whatever, because they're there because you manifested them or they were manifested.
Some bad ones too. I know they feed
Mm.
on your fear and everything like that, and it's definitely not fun, to say the
Do you know,
least.
do you know phase? Do you know what phase are?
Phase, Faze,
Fay's.
Fay.
So they're the little fairies.
Okay,
I got them. They take my all my stuff goes missing, and then I get angry. They're like children, and then I start yelling, and I'm like, "Where's my stuff at?" And then days later, it's randomly there.
that's interesting. Kind of like duendes.
Yeah. All my debit cards are missing. Like everything just keeps getting missing. It's crazy.
Now, have you seen the little fairies, the phase?
No, I haven't seen them. And at first I was like, no, maybe it's just me, it's my brain. And then I it was like something that intuition. And I'm like, no, it's something because it's been happening for probably maybe like two apartments that I've had the last two for sure. At least that I'm really noticing. And then maybe a little bit at my shop. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was my shop or not, or I don't know. But I know for sure now, like my one of my AirPods, I couldn't find it. And I cleaned, I was looking everywhere for it, and I was like, all right, I guess it's gone. One day it was on my counter on my side table, just just there. And I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah, it's interesting.
But can y'all stop?
Do you feel them? Like their little energy? Like what
Um,
makes you think that that's them?
yeah, I feel it. Because it's like playful. You know, it's like I don't know. I like they want to be jerks, like playful jerks. Like, oh yeah, I'm
Right.
gonna take your
Yeah.
keys. And it's always that high, like it's always when I'm already kind of mad or like when I'm not really in my spiritual, I get kind of caught up in the 3D, so I start getting more irritated or getting money problems, so I'm not really like completely like in the now, and that's when I know, and that's when you get more attacks. And that's why I'm saying, I'm like, maybe it's not me. And then sure enough, like I'm going back and forth within myself, like, no, something's taking my stuff. And then I go on TikTok and I see a video about phase, and I'm like, you
Makes
know
sense.
what? That is what it is. Like I'm so over this. So yeah, usually like I have to do more. Like I'm gonna do more research and like I really need to make an altar and things like that. Especially today, I went to Chinatown and one of the shops they had like this altar and I was just standing right in front of it and I'm like, I don't know why I'm so drawn to this. I need to do this. So especially like the time, almost the Day of the Dead season, things like that. The veil is getting thinner, and like I said, we
That's for
were,
sure.
started connecting more. So yeah, I time to go with that and make my altar, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I sick.
yeah,
That'd be cool if you could communicate with them and have them do things for you. That'd be pretty awesome.
yeah. I've been lately, so I don't know. I guess this could be a safe place, right? I'm gonna say this is a safe place because I am a very highly conscious being. Um, it is very lonely at times, but luckily it has allowed me to meet a lot of spiritually inclined people. Um, but yeah, I know a lot about a lot. It's like, like I know everything exists and that I have the capability of discovering it, but I don't know anything, right? Because things are always changing. And so one of the things that I do with like this power, because it's actually a claircognizance, is to like complete like it's like 51st dates in the morning. Like I know nothing. I don't know anything. I don't know anything that's gonna happen today. I don't know because I do, right? It's like you do, but you don't, but you do. So it's like it's like a grounding technique, right? So it's like I don't know anything, I don't know nothing, and then like knowledge, I swear, like sometimes I have to like just be quiet because knowledge is just coming fast. Like even today I was walking and they were doing a random tour for Chinatown and one of that landmark building they were saying how some random guy was just telling people how they were Asians who built it, but they were Norwegians because the Asians weren't allowed to work or build or whatever in here. So Norwegians were taught how to do the Asian architecture, and then they put a piece of Norwegian art in there. So that was just random, right? I was like, oh, that's cool. But that's what happens. I get random interesting facts. Like it's It's awesome. It's great, it's good. And then, you know, power comes with other things, right? So maintaining techniques, definitely going into hermit mode, recalibrating, recollecting, all of that, conserving your energy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do my own candle magic, do the whole return to sender.
Have you have
Protect
you
myself.
have you thought of doing a cord cutting ritual?
Yes and no. I just wouldn't know what I'm cutting from.
Hmm.
That would be the hard part. Because don't people normally do like relationships or bad people that are like in your life or something like that? Or is it totally
Got anything you need out of your life. Like you can make jars, you can make so the way that this is like it's your element. So if you need something, like fast, things like that, more intense, fire energy, right? And then even with your discard, so then you have your water jars, and then you have where you just bury things, right? And then the air is like the cleansing, purification, things like that. So you can use whatever elements, and that's what I use. And then it's the ethereal realm space. That's the Akashic, that's the all knowing, the I am. So it's all about using all of those elements as much as you can. The ones that you associate with, like your, like going into somewhat astrology, but like your strong suits or your counter, right? So, like for me, I'm a water sign and my fire is really low, which is weird, but I supplement it by doing a lot more candle magic, right? But now I'm doing more water jars too. And then depending on the discard or the closing of the ceremony, right? You can bury it if you need it to go, more into the earth as a returning, or depending on what it is, you can put in the sewer, in the toilet, or more peaceful and like, wherever it needs to go. But yeah, so just being able to utilize those is going to help to enhance your magic.
awesome? Yeah, I'm just barely getting into that and seeing it work and seeing it at a different level. It's very interesting. Like, I love that
Yeah.
there's more to this world and things are just, you know, popping up, ever so often. I'm just like, ooh, that just looks interesting, or that looks fun, or, like,
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you this. I was gonna make a post about it, but I haven't yet. I haven't got to it. So I was on Instagram one day and I don't know what, I don't really remember what, but it was something about like 99 chicken nugget, 99-cent chicken nuggets, something like that, right? So think of that. And I remember I commented and I was like, no, I remember back in the day when they had the 99-cent iced coffees at Dunkin' Donuts from 2 to 5. 2 days later, I get an email from Dunkin' Donuts saying that for until the 15th, they're doing $2 coffees. And I was like, look, I made that happen. Literally.
manifested that quick.
Right? And I was like, look, this is odd. I'm like, I literally just commented this and then I get this email.
Yeah, it definitely comes right back, especially if you're doing it right and the intention's
Hmm.
good and you know the world wants to give it to you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, like, it's like there's rules, right? Like, you
Right.
can't
Yeah.
take from other people and can't harm or hurt anybody. But everything, it's all energy. It's up for grabs. Like, I was doing a lot of the moon readings, and to be honest, like, I didn't feel like I was getting much, I didn't know if people were getting anything out of it. But I would literally tell you everything about the moon and the energy and what you guys can do to utilize that energy to your fullest potential and, really be able to tap into that and get what it is that you needed and that you wanted for that time.
Yeah, definitely. Like I know I do full moon rituals and new moon rituals and kind of some shadow work in between that and like I definitely believe in the moon's powers that it possesses.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's all energy. We're all energy beings. It's weird, but it's like you think about it, we're all our own avatar characters in this game, right? It's like the world's a video game. We're our own characters just playing. And you gotta learn the rules. Like learn the rules, be outside of the rules, but learn the rules, be respectful, right? But be authentic, be you, make something of it. And morals, this is something I'm gonna get into on my page too. A lot of us, our morals are inflicted on us from like religion backgrounds and things like that. Some of that's holding you back because I know I'm being held back. I'm holding myself back, and I'm like, man, I think I just have too high morals. And I'm like, no, because that's me. Like I said, hug your devil, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like this is what I like, right? Like this is me. Not suppress it, not hide it. Don't shame yourself because that's what causes more demons is the shame. And then you get into like weird attachment styles, and then now you're avoiding things and avoiding life, or you're super anxious. Yeah, it's all together. It all comes together.
Like a circle.
Mhm. When back in the day, we like to do illegal things. One of the illegal things, we took a trip to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery.
Ooh, I love that place.
Yeah, so we went a few times. So like the first like I don't know, I think we went maybe like four times. Like the first few times, like I didn't experience anything, but the people that the people that I was with, some of them did, but it was the last time that we went. We were we were drinking a little bit, smoking a little bit, and we went and we kind of split up. And I remember I, two of my cousins, they went on a walk together, and I'm with my other cousin, and we're just sitting. I'm looking around. We're hearing things, hearing noises, and I'm like, man, it's kind of creepy here. And then I see two people walking, and I was like, oh, okay, there's my cousins there. I was like, all right, cool. And then I'm looking at them because they're kind of far away, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, why are they wearing white? I thought we were wearing all black. And I'm watching them, and they're coming closer. They're all the way down there, and they're slowly coming closer. And then from the other side, I hear them run up on me, like run out to scare us. And I turn around, and I'm like, and I see them there, and I look back, and of course they're gone. And I'm like, really? I got gotten.
Yep.
But yeah, like I guess there's like some video, like the recording that we had, it ended up stopping. One of my cousins saw like a ghostly figure on one of the headstones, and he said like he was like laying on it, and like he popped his head up, and that kind of freaked him out. I mean, I don't know. That's what they were saying, right? That's their versions, but we all did experience different things, and it was an adventure. I don't recommend you going because it's illegal, but yeah, it was an adventure, and it was cool. Like a lot of people do break in. There was a lot of like pentagrams and things like that, and it's I don't know, you don't go to disrupt it and to call on more energy, go and be peaceful, and respectable.
Yeah, definitely. I know my
Yeah.
experience there was interesting. I was wearing suspenders and I had them down, and the grass wasn't like, it was cut. So we're walking, and I feel something pull at my suspenders. I'm like, ooh, because I looked down and I was like, maybe it was the grass. Yeah, no, it wasn't the grass. And then I had my cousin tell me that he recorded the little pond there or whatever. They didn't hear anything, but when they played it back, you could hear screamings and things like that.
And that's where the entities that I saw, it was across the pond. That's why I'm like, I see them and I'm waiting for them to walk over here, and they were across that way, and then I heard them from the other way. So yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Very high energy place there.
Yeah, yeah. I would that was before my awakening. If I had the opportunity to go after my awakening, I would definitely experience that.
Awesome, awesome.
But I don't recommend.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, Luna. And for the people that are watching, if they could find you, what could they find you at?
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here on your channel. And I feel like candles like this, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Luna's Enlightenment, or you can send me an email at lunasenlightenment@gmail.com.
Awesome. Now, if you guys have your own paranormal experiences, creepy encounters, or something you can't explain, send it to us at obscureechoes@gmail.com. We might just feature it next. Until then, keep your lights low, your eyes open, because not every horror story is fiction. Sometimes things we hear in the dark, they're hearing us too.